right, we are in the Q&A for the secret about time. How do you leverage time? Lee, how long ago was it that you went through the 30-day challenge?
I think that was probably back in February.
Okay. So that would have been roughly about 8 months ago.
Yeah.
And what is it that, I guess, why did you do the 30-day challenge?
I did the 30-day challenge because I was asking you the question of how do I get everything done that I want to strive to do when there is 24 hours in the day. And you said, that's a great question, Lee, and I have an answer for you. And you suggested the 30-day time challenge to me, and so I went through it, and day 28, I think I touched base with you, and I said, what do I do next? And you said, what do you mean, what do you do next? I'm like, I'm on day 28. What do I do next? And you went, oh, wait a minute. What's been going on? And you're like, okay, how about would you be willing to go through it again? And this time would you up and out to me so that you could see the feedback on what I was learning from each of the principles? And I agreed to do that because it was that important to me. My goal, I'm so passionate about my goals on getting them all accomplished. And I said, okay. And what was great, too, was that I actually brought somebody on board with me to do the same 30-day challenge. And he upped and out to me, and I forwarded that on to you. And I was able to learn where to say no to things and where to put in where my yeses need to go so I could direct my time and my energy. And it leveraged a lot of my time, and I was able to hit and go above and beyond so many of my goals I had set out for me back then, and it continues today.
And individuals maybe who are joining us may not know what up and out means. What is up and out, Lee, and why is that so important?
Up and out is after you watch a video, the principle, then you ask, what did I learn? And so you respond to that. And then the next question is, what action will I take based on that learning? So you set the action. And then the third question is, what do I need to learn next? And maybe after the first two videos, it's that question, that answer is, watch the next video. But then by the time you get to the third principle, your brain starts to go, oh, what do I need to learn next? And it'll come up with other questions, which you'll tend to find that you'll get those answers as you continue studying the secrets about time.
Cool. Does anyone else have any questions or thoughts on the secret about time, or questions for Lee as she went through the 30-day challenge on the secret about time? We all good? You all have an extra 20? Go ahead.
I was curious if Lee had encouraged or invited her daughter to go through the Secret About Time challenge with her.
Great question.
I had not, but yeah, that would be a great challenge. I'll have to ask her. Thank you.
Cool. And let's go ahead and say, I'm sure your daughter, is not at all like my 4 daughters or my 3 sons, and I'm sure that she'll say, sure, Mom, love to. That sounds like really cool. There's 1,440 minutes in a day. Each video is about 6 minutes, so I'm still going to have like 1,430 plus minutes a day. So you're not asking very much, and you do so much for me, Mom. Like if you just want me to do it, I am sure that's how your daughter, none of my 7 children would respond like that. So what if we ask our daughter or our son or our spouse or a friend or family member and, ask them, and they say, yeah, no. Why did they say no, and how do we turn that no into a yes?
I would think they probably said no because they don't know what you know about what the challenge can do for them. And so I would think the way to get them interested is to go through the challenge yourself, share your experience, and then tell them specifically, I would say maybe it's called using leverage, how the 30-day challenge could help them with something that they have a challenge with.
Nice. So Tom is the first one who introduced me to the concept, and he was out and he heard somebody use this where he was selling something to someone, and the individual said, "No, I'm not interested." And the gentleman kind of laughed. He said, "Well, that's something to this effect." Tom tells a story, and when Tom's with us next week, we can get that story specifically from him. But something to the effect of, that's interesting you say that. Actually, your no is different than my no, and so your no is N-O, my no is K-N-O-W. So I think I know something maybe that you don't know, and if you could help me to help you to know what I know, then your no will become a yes because it'll be like my no. So it was really, I was like, wow, that is really cool. Actually, MVP has taken that. The MVP network has taken that, is working on a video. So how many times do we get somebody around us that is saying no because they don't know? So one is building conceptual bridges, and so if you ask, often with family members, we don't sell them. We just ask them to do things, and they say no because we haven't sold them. We think, oh, we're so brilliant, they'll just say yes because they're my mom or dad or my brothers or sisters or my children or something. And it's like family is some of the hardest people to sell for sure. And so if you ask somebody their biggest challenge, which is, there's a website that Life Masteries Institute and Legacy Partners has, and it's solutions.dna4success.com. So solutions.dna4success.com. And anybody can enter in a biggest challenge, or you could enter in somebody else's biggest challenge if you wanted to, with their permission, of course. And then their contact information. And Legacy Partners and Life Masteries will help them to say, okay, here's your biggest challenge, here's some resources that will help you. Excellent. Lee, what would you like to accomplish today? Questions you have?
My question was, seeing some of the sample emails on getting the message out about leverage, I'm curious what insight you can provide on, is there a strategy that we can leverage ourselves to get the message out through our database so that more people will actually open the email, or are we looking at something that's more of rolling the dice or casting a net and hoping people will open and then be more curious? I was wondering if there was more of a strategy that we could do.
Sure. And so the first thing we need to do is get, a database, a group of people. It could be through our phone. It could be through our email. It could be through social media or whoever. And the most compelling, if you're emailing somebody, the most compelling line of all email lines I've ever seen is, could you help me? So if you say, could you help me, that will get the most people to take the next step and look at the email. And then once you do that, then you might say, I'm taking this course on leverage, and I think you might have some interesting insight into it. Would you be willing to, look at this short video and give me your feedback? And then you could direct them to this page for the, free webinar. And that gives, the leverage video. It gives, so 2 1-minute videos, a little bit more information. And then what you'll want to do is you want to write at the bottom of this, your one word for today. And then maybe explain something more about that one word, what that one word was to you, and being able to go through it. So you want these, you want people to see, to know what you know and what you see. When people know what you know and see, they're going to follow you. Does that help, Lee?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Peter, any other thoughts, suggestions for Lee and others?
No, I think you kind of hit the nail with can you help and give me your feedback to know what people know. I mean, the hardest thing with any form of sale, if you know what you have has value, is how you get them to see what you see. And I think it is a trick to be able to get people to learn or see, or at least take a look and give you some feedback, because then you get them engaged at that time, and then you can at least see where they are.
Nice. Nicole, what would you like to accomplish today?
I kind of want to direct my question over to Lee. You mentioned that when you went through the Secret About Time challenge, you learned when to say yes and when to say no, and that helped you accomplish your goals. What did you learn about that? What advice do you have for people that have trouble with that?
There is, I want to say it's video 3 or 4. The Mach 1 principle is one of my favorite principles, and it's about experiencing the resistance as you're getting closer and closer to your goals. And the resistance could be your own personal thoughts, your self-talk. It could be outside circumstances or outside conversations of what people say to you. And when I went deeper with that, I'm like, is this a goal that I really, truly care about and want to accomplish? Then I'm like, I'm going to push through this resistance anyway. I'm going to keep pouring my time and my energy into that. And when I would do that, I pushed through the resistance. And once I got onto the other side, like the Mach 1 principle says, you get a smoother ride, and you're actually getting there faster with that less resistance. Mm-hmm. And so when I dialed in, what is it that I truly want to accomplish? You know, it's not about putting out, I have these 10 goals. It's like, 10 goals was overwhelming for me. It's like, no, I have these projects that have these deadlines, and deadlines is a really great way to leverage your time too, because once your brain understands that ultimate deadline, I am going to finish this project by September. I have a deadline right now. I have my 12-week countdown because I'm doing my mastermind seminar January 25th. I've given myself a deadline. Now I have to complete the 12-week countdown. I have to fill the 30 roles. So those goals become more real and more focused and more dialed in. And I don't have time to think about, what if I don't fill these positions? Well, no, we're going to dial in even more. That might be a resistance question, right? It's like, nope, we're going to push that aside because I know I'm going to find the right people to fill these positions because I'm going to get this complete by January 25th and make it the most incredible event ever. And so when you do that, again, you just get so dialed in, and then when other things come your way, and if it doesn't fall within that alignment, it's easier to say no. And that impact on how you become a steward of time becomes very powerful.
Does that help, Nicole?
Yeah, it does.
Other questions that you had, Nicole?
Well, the other question I have is about leveraging relationships. Specifically, when you talk about, I'm only 23 in business, how do you build relationships in a timely manner with people that are, much older than me in business and make them meaningful relationships, but also being respectful of their time? And
cool.
Does that make sense?
It does. Peter, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I love that question, Nicole. When I often find myself having to cast my mind back in time to when I was in my 20s and getting started. But what I would simply say is, and then being where I am now, where you want to help or you want to share, but sometimes your time is precious if you're an executive or you've got a lot of responsibilities. But the key is to ask questions, and Mark said it in his email, could you help me? Well, back in the beginning of my work life, I was just very curious, and I just asked people how things worked in their area of expertise, whether I worked with them or for them or not. The people that will help you value that curious mind. So the easy way to build relationships is simply ask people. And you'll be amazed, if you're doing something that you feel passionate about and you want to learn about, then ask somebody in that area. Even if you don't know them, you'll be amazed that people want to help, especially those that are younger and learning and curious. When I interviewed people 30 years later, the most important thing to me when I was looking for the entry-level candidates in a BMW or a Rolls-Royce was the curiosity of their mind, what they wanted to do, not what they thought they should be doing, but what they wanted to do, because that's what I was always really interested in, and the fact that they were humble enough to ask what they didn't know. So you'll find, I think, people anywhere doing anything where they have an expertise and you're asking for help or information or advice on how you can do something that's important to you or accomplish it, they're willing to help. And I think it's hard to be conscious when you've got a lot that you want to learn on somebody else's time. So you have to decide that. But I'd also say follow up. If you take some advice or you get some advice that is of value to you, then the key is to thank people for that advice, but also follow up down the road if you actually implemented it and found success in it. Because then what you've done is you valued their time and their input that they gave to you, and you achieved something with it. And that's very valuable to those people personally, that to continue building that relationship with them. And I have many personal friends who are much older than me that I established when I was in my 20s, who even today, I don't talk to them every month, but every now and then, every few years, we reconnect. And it's all founded on that help me learn, help me accomplish my dreams or my goals. And the fact that they did just creates that human relationship that they value and you value. So the only stupid question is the one you didn't ask.
Nice. Tom, your thoughts?
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of what Peter said is right on. I remember one of the things I would suggest is to see if you could find a group of business people that meet regularly. My dad used to had a group of people that would meet every morning about 5:30, 6 o'clock, and there were different business people from around the city, bankers, lawyers, just basic business people. And so I kind of got introduced to them because when I'd go to work with them, I'd just sit there and listen and learn. Over the years, those folks became very valuable to me because they knew who I was first. They knew my relationship with my dad, and they respected him, so that respect kind of just flowed to me. Now I had to protect that. But I think what Peter said, too, is, just go out and ask questions. And if you do go ask questions and you find out something, then see if you can bring something back to that individual that gave you the input for the question that you ask. If you bring them something of value, you now have locked them in. And they will always refer back to you or give you a call or reference you to other people and so on and so forth. And again, I think it gets back to claim all unclaimed territory. If you want to lock into somebody, just go start doing things.
Nice.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Does that help, Nicole?
Yeah, that really does. Thank you so much.
So if you're listening to the rebroadcast of this, who are 2 or 3 other people that you can think of? Yeah, let's say 2 people. So who can be your art buddies, your atomic ripple reaction tree? So I think a lot of times we're mentored by somebody else, but we're not intentionally mentoring 2 other people. And when we do that properly, it's amazing what will happen. We're going to stick around here for a few more minutes, and so for those that can, there's some really cool things that we'll be talking about in what's going on with Leverage and what's coming up and all the opportunities. So if you're able to stick around, if you're listening to the rebroadcast of this, you have any questions, connect with the individual who invited you to participate in today's session, or you can call toll-free 888-230-2300. That's 888-230-2300. Or if you're calling in outside the U.S., you can call the U.S.-based number at 630-393-9909. That's 630-393-9909. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. God bless and have a great day. Bye-bye.